You're watching Major League Baseball's virtual network. I'm Nicholas Callis. These are your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Sunday, June the 28th, 2020. The Tigers shut out the Royals. 4-0 was the final score of this game, and the Orioles out-hit the Tigers 11-8, but ended up losing this game, and they didn't score a single run. Daniel Norris got the win, Alex Cobb got the loss, his 11th of the year, and Joe Jimenez now has 21 saves with the Tigers this year. Interleague play between the Cardinals and the Red Sox ended in a Red Sox victory, 4-1. The final score of this game, Hector Velazquez got the win, Adam Wainwright got the loss, and Brandon Workman earned his 23rd save of the year. The Cubs and Yankees played each other, another interleague series between a team from the NL Central and a team from the AL East, but the Cubs came out on top with a 5-1 victory. The Cubs scored all of their runs in the first 3 innings, and the Yankees got just 1 run in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Yankees were also limited to just 2 hits in this game. Jose Quintana got the win, and Jay Happ got the loss. The Athletics beat the White Sox by a score of 11-4. The White Sox got all of their runs in the 6th inning. Meanwhile, the Athletics put up back-to-back 4-run innings in the 2nd and the 3rd, and they ended up winning by 7 runs. Frankie Montas got the win, and Dallas Keuchel got the loss. Close game between the Angels and the Blue Jays. 8-7 was the final score of this game, and this game also took 11 innings to complete. The Blue Jays had made a comeback in the final 2 innings of regulation. They scored 1 in the 8th and 2 in the 9th inning to tie up the game. Then the Angels took the lead. It was 7-6 going into the bottom of the 11th inning. Not only did the Blue Jays tie it up, but they ended up walking it off in a 1-run victory in extra innings. Thomas Bonone got the win out of the bullpen, and Ty Butchery got the loss. The Mariners and Rays played each other, and the Rays won handedly, 9-2. The final score of this game, Ryan Yarbrough got the win, and Eric Swanson got the loss. AL Central Baseball, close game too. The Indians and Royals played each other, and the Indians won by a score of 2-1. The Indians got both their runs through 2 innings. The Royals scored their only run in the 7th inning. Zach Plesac got the win, Jacob Junis got the loss, and Brad Hand earned his 29th save of the season with the Indians. Interleague baseball between the Rockies and the Twins, a close game. The Rockies had scored 2 runs at the top of the 1st inning, and that held up until the 8th inning when the Twins tied it, and then they walked it off in the bottom of the 9th. Cody Guerin got the win, and Brian Shaw got the loss. The Rangers and Astros played each other, a Battle of Texas, also an AL West matchup, and close game, 3-2, the final score of this one. The Rangers scored 1 run in the 4th inning. That made it a 1-run game. Then they scored 2 in the 6th to take the lead, and nobody scored past that point. Jordan Lyles got the win, Lance McCullers Jr. got the loss, and Jose Leclerc earned his 18th save of the season. The Reds hammered the Nationals 10-1. The final score of this game, the Reds got all of their runs in the first 4 innings. The Nationals scored their only run in the 7th inning. Luis Castillo got the win, and Anibal Sanchez got the loss. The Diamondbacks and Phillies played each other. An offensive game, to say the least, 7-3, the final score. The Phillies had the lead up until the 4th inning, up until the 5th inning when the Diamondbacks scored 4 runs. The Diamondbacks also put up 3 in the top of the 9th inning to create some separation, and they got the win, and they won by 4 runs. Zach Gallen got the win, and Jake Arrieta got the loss. NL East baseball, the Braves beat the Marlins by 6 runs, 7-1. The final score of this game, Sean Newcomb got the win, and Jose Urena got the loss. NL Central baseball between the Pirates and the Brewers. 4 runs scored by the Pirates, 6 runs scored by the Brewers. The Brewers won by 2. Alex Claudio got the win, Chris Stratton got the loss, and Corey Knebel earned his 3rd save of the season. The Mets blanked the Padres 4-0. The final score of this game, the Mets scored 2 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd, and 1 in the 4th inning. Won by 4 runs, getting the shutout. Michael Wacha got the win, Zach Davies got the loss, and Edwin Diaz earned his 22nd save of the year. And an NL West matchup, the Dodgers beat the Giants 13-4, the final score. It was a close game after 1 inning, a lot of offense. Jock Peterson hit a grand slam in the top of the 1st inning. Hunter Pence hit a 3-run home run in the bottom of the 1st inning, but as you see later on the scoreline, the Dodgers just kept piling on runs with back-to-back-to-back 2-run innings. They scored in 5 consecutive innings from the 4th to the 8th inning, and they won by 9 runs. Jimmy Nelson got the win, Derek Rodriguez got the loss, and Ross Stripling earned a save, his 2nd of the year with the Dodgers. Looking at standings now, starting in the American League East, the New York Yankees still at the top, Though they lost to the Cubs today, they're 50-34 now. The Blue Jays have won 2 games in a row. They've also won 7 of their last 10. And they've moved to within a game back of the Yankees with a 49-35 record. The Rays are 41-44, 9.5 games back. They've won 6 of their last 10 games. The Red Sox have gotten hot recently. They've won 4 games in a row. They're 39-45, 11 games back. And the Orioles continue to be on a slide. They've lost 8 games in a row. And they have 50 losses now on their record. They're 34-50 overall. In the American League Central, the Minnesota Twins are 58-27. They won today. They still have the best record in baseball. The White Sox, second in this division with a 50-35 record. They're 8 games back. They've also lost 3 in a row. The Indians are 47-37, keeping pace as best they can. They're 10.5 games back of the Twins for first place. The Tigers are 34-50, 23.5 games back. They've won 3 games in a row, though. And the Royals are 30-55, 28 games back in last place. And in the American League West, the Oakland Athletics are 52-32. They're still at the top. They've won 3 games in a row. The Astros are 47-35, relatively keeping pace, though they lost today, which pushed them another game back. They're 4 games back overall. The Angels are 40-43, 11.5 games back. The Rangers in 4th place with a 35-50 record, 17.5 games back. And the Mariners still in last place with a 30-55 record. They're 22.5 games back. Wildcard standings look like this. The White Sox still have the top spot with a 50-35 record. The Blue Jays a half game back of that first wildcard spot with a 49-35 record. Then you have the Astros 1 game back. They've fallen below the Blue Jays now, and they don't have a spot at the moment. The Indians 2 games back of the Blue Jays for that second wildcard spot with a 47-37 record. Every other team in the American League has a winning percentage under 500 and is at least 8.5 games back of that second wildcard spot. In the National League East, the Washington Nationals are 50-34. They're still at the top of the division. The Marlins weren't able to gain any ground because they lost today as well. They're 45-39, 5 games back. The Braves are catching up now, not only to the Marlins, but to the Nationals for first as well. It's not quite close, but they're making strides. They won today. They're 44-40. They're a game back now of the Marlins and 6 games back of first place overall. The Phillies, 39-44, 10.5 games back. They've lost 2 games in a row. And the Mets have gotten rather hot recently. They've won 5 games in a row. They're 38-46, and they're 12 games back of the Nationals for first place. In the National League Central, the St. Louis Cardinals still at the top of the division, but they've lost 3 games in a row, which has allowed the Cubs to catch up a bit. The Cubs won today. They also won 8 of their last 10. They're 43-41. 5 games back of the Cardinals for first place. Brewers are 39-43, 8 games back. The Reds 34-50, 14 games back, and the Pirates still in last place with a 31-52 record. They're 16.5 games back. In the National League West, the Los Angeles Dodgers still at the top. They still have a commanding lead. They're 57-27. They've also won 4 in a row. They've won 7 of their last 10, and they have the second best record in all of Major League Baseball. The Diamondbacks 46-38, 11 games back. They've won 2 games in a row. The Padres have gotten cold. They've lost their last 4 games. They're 44-40, 13 games back. The Rockies are 33-50, 23.5 games back, and the Giants have lost 5 games in a row. They lost to the Dodgers today. They're 32-52, 25 games back of first place. And here are the wild card standings in the NL. The Diamondbacks have the top spot with a 46-38 record. The Marlins just behind the Diamondbacks with a 45-39 record. Then you have the Padres and Braves, each a game back of that second wild card spot with a 44-40 record. The Cubs still relatively in contention with a 43-41 record. They're 2 games back. And every other team in the National League has a winning percentage under 500 and is at least 5 games back of that second wild card spot. Looking at league leaders now, starting with batting average leaders in the American League. Miguel Cabrera still at the top with a 341 average, though he's fallen a long way from his totals that went above 350 once upon a time a couple weeks ago. Chris Davis in second with a 336 average, and Carlos Santana third best with a 333. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt still at the top, still keeping pace with himself. He's at a 362 average, hasn't fallen too far, and he's still at the top. Jonathan Villar second best with a 347 average, and David Dahl third best with a 338. Hits leaders in the American League, Miguel Andujar has 114, his teammate DJ LeMahieu 2 behind him with 112, and JD Martinez third best with 111. In the National League, Jonathan Villar leads with 123, Paul Goldschmidt second best with 111, and Ronald Acuna Jr. rounds out the top 3 with 104. At bat leaders in the American League, Jose Abreu has the most with 349. In the National League, Jonathan Villar leads with 354. Doubles leaders in the American League, Anthony Rendon up to 30. That's the top spot. Giancarlo Stanton in second with 26, and Jose Abreu third best with 25. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 39 doubles. 9 behind him is Christian Yelich with 30, and Nicholas Castellanos third best with 26. Triples leaders in the American League, Jose Altuve and Adalberto Mondesi tied for the top spot with 6. Adam Eaton and Steven Piscotty are tied for third best with 5. In the National League, Jonathan Villar has 10 triples, the first one in baseball in double digits. Victor Robles second best with 6. Chris Bryant, Cody Bellinger, and Hunter Pence all tied for third best with 5. Home run leaders in the American League, Justin Upton has the most with 29. Chris Davis, J.D. Martinez, and Lourdes Gurriel Jr. tied for the second spot with 26. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has 31. Paul Goldschmidt second best with 28. And Freddie Freeman and Jock Peterson are tied for third best with 22. RBI leaders in the American League, Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is up to 80 now. Chris Davis, 6 behind him with 74, and Jorge Soler rounds out the top 3 with 70. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has 79. It's commanding lead. The next best in the NL is Christian Yelich with 66, and Cody Bellinger third best with 65. Runs scored leaders in the American League, J.D. Martinez at the top with 64. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. at the top with 72. Stolen base leaders in the American League, Adalberto Mondesi has 20. Malik Smith and D. Gordon, Mariner teammates, tied for second best with 18. In the National League, Starling Marte is at 28. Trey Turner second best with 27. And Jonathan Villar rounds out the top 3 with 22. Walks leaders in the American League, Alex Bregman has the most with 55. In the National League, Mookie Betts has the most with 60. On base percentage leaders in the American League, Alex Bregman has the highest with a 423. Chris Davis second best with a 416, and Carlos Santana third best with a 415. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has the highest with a 456. Christian Yelich second best with a 438, and Ronald Acuna Jr. third best with a 420. Slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Josh Donaldson has a 644. Chris Davis second best with a 639, and J.D. Martinez third best with a 632. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has a 731. Paul Goldschmidt second best with a 720. And Christian Yelich third best with a 670. On base percentage plus slugging percentage leaders in the American League, Chris Davis has the highest with a 1.055. Josh Donaldson moved down to second best. He now has a 1.053. And J.D. Martinez rounds out the top 3 with a 1.034. The top 3 are also the only players in the AL with an OPS over 1,000. In the National League, Paul Goldschmidt has the highest with a 1.176. Ronald Acuna Jr. behind him with a 1.151. And Christian Yelich in the top 3 with a 1.109. Moving on to pitcher leaderboards, starting with wins leaders in the American League, Hyun-Jin Ryu and Kenta Maeda have the most with 10. Jake Odorizzi third best with 9. In the National League, Walker Buehler has 11. Jimmy Nelson and Steven Strasburg tied for second best with 9. Losses leaders in the American League, Chris Bassett and Kenta Maeda are still undefeated on the mound, which puts them at the top of this leaderboard. In the National League, Carlos Martinez has lost the least amount of games on the mound this year among players who have reached the league minimum of time recorded, but he's at 1. Saves leaders in the American League, Liam Hendricks has the most with 30, Brad Hand second best with 29, and Roberto Osuna third best with 25. In the National League, Giovanni Gallegos at the top with 30, Craig Kimbrell second best with 29, and Kenley Jansen third best with 28. ERA leaders in the American League, Kenta Maeda has a 2.38, Mike Minor second best with a 2.60, and Jake Odorizzi rounds up the top 3 with a 2.67. In the National League, Marcus Stroman has the lowest with a 1.94, Walker Buehler second best with a 2.14, and Steven Strasburg third best with a 2.44. Home runs allowed among American League pitchers, Mike Minor and Gio Gonzalez have allowed the least amount with 7. In the National League, Marcus Stroman's allowed the least amount with 5. Shutout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka have thrown the most with 3. Jake Odorizzi third best with 2. In the National League, Jacob deGrom's thrown 3 complete game shutouts. The 4 pitchers tied for second best. Merrill Kelly, Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, and Walker Buehler have all thrown 2. Strikeout leaders in the American League, Garrett Cole has the most with 144. Lucas Giolito second best with 126, and Carlos Carrasco third best with 119. In the National League, Steven Strasburg has the most with 141. Clayton Kershaw second best with 136, and Robbie Ray rounds out the top 3 with 129. Complete games thrown among American League pitchers, Garrett Cole and Masahiro Tanaka each have thrown 3 complete games. Jake Odorizzi and Aaron Savali tied for third best with 2. In the National League, Jacob deGrom, Aaron Nola, and Zach Wheeler have all thrown 3 complete games, which puts them all at the top of this leaderboard. Innings pitched leaders in the American League. Hyunjin Ryu has 116 and a third innings recorded. In the National League, Aaron Nola has 119 innings recorded, putting him at the top. Walks allowed among American League pitchers. Carlos Carrasco is allowed the least amount with 16. In the National League, Brett Anderson's allowed the least amount with 20. Whip leaders in the American League, Jake Odorizzi has a 107, Carlos Carrasco has a 108, and Hyunjin Ryu has a 109. In the National League, Aaron Nola has the lowest with a 1, Marcus Stroman second best with a 102, and Clayton Kershaw third best with a 106. Pitching WAR leaders in the American League, Shane Bieber has the highest with a 2.8, Masahiro Tanaka and Corey Kluber each have a 2.6. They all make up the top 3 on this leaderboard. In the National League, Steven Strasburg has a 3. Right behind him is Aaron Nola with a 2.9. Robbie Ray also has a 2.9. That's the top 3 on this leaderboard. And batting WAR leaders in the American League, Marcus Semien has a 5.5, Alex Bregman second best with a 4.8, and DJ LeMahieu third best with a 4.7. In the National League, Ronald Acuna Jr. has a 6.5, Christian Yelich second best with a 5.9, and Paul Goldschmidt rounds out the top 3 with a 5.4. These have been your game recaps, standing updates, and league leaders from Sunday, June the 28th, 2020. I'm Nicholas Callis. You've been watching Major League Baseball's Virtual Network.